Freestyle is my best training stroke for sure.
Okay.
Honestly, the times that you'll have seen in my freestyle are nothing compared to what I train.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if it's because I can just keep going and keep doing it, long course, but I think freestyle will be one of my top races, like you said, this summer.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Social Kick. I'm John Mullen. We have a partial crew today with Brian Lundquist having a family emergency, headed back to Atlanta. But back from Trinidad is our man, Luke Paddington, and we're excited to have IU standout, Owen McDonald. How you doing today, Owen?
I'm doing great. How about y'all?
I'm doing well, except another IU athlete. As a Purdue alum, I don't know what to say, but I don't know. We'll get into maybe how true you are to IU, growing up in Atlanta, then going to ASU, and now in Indiana.
A lot of moving around.
A lot of moving around, but before we get into all that, we always ask our audience for some questions beforehand at Social Kick Swim. So we'll get into some audience questions. The first one is from Leo Palaz, wants to know, how many hours does he have on Call of Duty?
Well, I've accumulated a lot of hours on Call of Duty, but the most recent one, I probably have, I think I'm at 30 hours, so not that much, but
Dang.
hopefully we'll keep increasing.
There we go. All right, next one's from one of our big followers, Neo Photo Site Sarah wants to know, and I think it's because the picture I posted of you had the cross with all the diamonds in it. So I think you're going for Peter Kotze's cross title. He wants to know how many diamonds are in the cross.
Well, we can count right now. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 11 diamonds.
I like it.
Diamonds.
There we go. I like it. All right. Your teammate that traveled with you from ASU, Mr. Zalin, wants to know, is your roommate a good cook?
I have to say it. He is a good cook. No, we have a little competition. I like to say I'm better, but he's a pretty darn good cook. So.
All right. Is he making goulash? That's a Hungarian meal, isn't it? Yeah.
He did. He's made goulash once, I believe. I know it's hard to make, so he's only made it once, and we had a couple people over, and it was a great night. We watched a movie, had some goulash, and it was delicious.
Does he pound the calories? Like, does he eat a lot of food, or who eats more food? Because he's pretty thin.
I would say we eat together every night, since he's my roommate. I would say we're putting in, well, for sure 2 huge meals a day, but summers we snack throughout the entire rest of the day. So we're putting up a lot of calories, but yeah, he definitely burns a lot more than I do. Especially since we have very different training regimens now.
All right, so we haven't talked about this much in swimming, John, but let's talk about some of the food that we would eat, right? So when we would, after meets, we'd stop at a Subway on the way back, and I would take 2 footlongs or 4 Big Macs,
Oh my gosh.
All right, so
2 Chipotle burritos. That was always
for
a
sure.
good one.
Yeah, that's what we do. So John, what was like your thing when after meet? Like, was it a whole large pizza? What would you stop up and eat? How much food?
Me? Oh man, it might be Chipotle. It might have been this 2 huge Chipotle burritos or something like that. Really just unleashing. But I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, usually, especially in college, you'd go to a nicer meal at the end, right? So I feel like a lot of times it'd just be getting a nice big piece of steak or something like that.
How about you, Owen? Any legends of fast food?
Back it's had to switch every time I've moved states because there's different restaurants. But back in Georgia, after meets, after practice, we always used to go to Cookout, just burgers, fries.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everyone's like, you got to stay on the healthy diet and make sure you eat this. But when you're younger, man, and you're a swimmer, okay, wait, do not quote me on this, but you just need to eat, get big. When I was at ASU, there was a Mediterranean place called the Shawarma Factory, and I used to eat, I loved that place. I always got the beef shawarma sandwich, and I would just pound 1 or 2 of those every time after a meet. And now here, I don't know. I'm still kind of exploring. There's a lot of places that I have to go to, but I really like this ramen place. It's called Katsuguru, and it's super nice. It's a big ramen bowl.
A big one. That's it. That's not very.
Oh yeah, no. The key word is big.
Okay,
yeah.
good. Yeah, I'm expecting you to have get kicked out the restaurant because you ate them out or something. That's what
Yeah.
happens. How strict is your who's stricter on diets? Because Brian Lundquist tells a great story of Dave Marsh telling him, "I don't see any veggies in your plate," when they went to like one of the restaurants in the freshman year. How strict are your coaches on diets and like coming to your plate? Oh,
Again, in high school at Dynamo, nothing. No diets. You just eat whatever you want. ASU, Bob was somewhat strict on what we ate or didn't eat, but not that terrible. And here, I'm just going to call him out. John Long, our sprint coach, we eat as much as we can, but there was one day at Nationals a couple months ago where I grabbed like 3 desserts, and he just comes over to me and he's like, 1 dessert per person. And I just looked at him like, no one's ever told me that before. I was like, okay, I'll take 1. But I was pretty pissed off.
Well, that goes to the next one. So Dylan Fowley wants to know, do you ever have cupcakes at practice?
what?
Well, that's a funny question. That's coming from Dynamo again, because he's my buddy that I sang with the Dynamo. What's up, Dylan? I miss you, man. But yeah, some of the coaches, we always had birthdays for some reason. At Dynamo, I swear every day there was a birthday, and we always had like a stock of cupcakes and like candy in the ceilings and like all these things that we used to eat. But unfortunately, no, we have not had any cupcakes at IU. We've had a few like of the staff that brings them and they just text, but that's always a wary thing to type in a swimming group chat because those will all be gone within 2 minutes of sending it out.
All right, so we talk about stuff that's going in our tummy. And when we talk to Carson Foster, when we talk to Ryan Murphy, we talked about puking. And we talk about the foods you eat before practice that make you puke. And Carson says he can't puke. Ryan says he hasn't puked in practice since he was in high school. Do you eat certain foods and you put down a lactic set and you just barf and you can't take it? Or is that things of the past?
So I'm no Carson Foster yet. So I do puke. I puke. Yeah. I haven't puked in a while, knock on wood, but I would say if I have a lot of like dark meat, because there's sometimes at like the student halls and the lunch halls in college, I put down like rice, chicken, steak. I would definitely say steak. Just stay away from the heavy meats because I always have like a big like steak meal or like beef or any of that stuff maybe an hour before practice, and that is just not sit well at all. So yeah, definitely don't go for that.
And for those listening, my advice is avoid hot dogs. Don't have 4 hot dogs for lunch and go into practice.
No Costco hot dog before practice.
No,
that up for sure.
Oh, I had a Costco pizza once, like one of those full Costco pizzas. Came up within the first 500 of warm up. Didn't even get to the lactic set.
All right, last question here from our audience. H.Andrews97 wants to know, and this is a question we don't often, I think, have swimmers asking, but it's, what's your favorite event to watch? Swimming event.
Ooh, that's a good question. I would really have to say the 2IM. Because I love, 2IM is also my favorite race. Yeah. Because I just love seeing how all the different swimmers match up against each other in different strokes. And inevitably one of them is that person's best versus that person's best. And it's just like a back and forth tug of war the whole time to watch. And you can't really tell who's going to win. And I really feel that too while I'm swimming it. Cause like, I know I have to go out fast, like faster than everyone. And it's just from there, it's kind of, oh God, what's going to happen on the breaststroke? But yeah, it's just funny. It's funny to watch. It's a great race. It's just a good race all around.
Do you think the 2IM is like the sweet spot for the IM compared to the 100 and the 400, where the 100, especially now, it's just like so much is underwater. It's so quick. The 400, I mean, you can't have some blowouts, right? Some people just get so far away and then they just like, win, like Summer right now. She's just like winning by a large amount there, where the 2IM, it's always a little close, and nowadays it's just almost a sprint from the start is what we're seeing.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I think the 100's too fast to watch now. The 400, there could be two. And I was going to say my second favorite race to watch is the 400, just because it's the same thing, but a little more extended. But the 2 IM in the world of swimming today, I would say, is definitely, it's anyone's game. Obviously, we got guys like Leon who are going to be the top runners, but I feel like there's people out there at any given day that can really turn it up. And it's just a great race to watch from start to finish. Because like you said, and nowadays in swimming, the 2 IM is just a full sprint. You see everyone's max speed in every stroke, and then you see who's faster at which ones and who's going to come out on top.
Well, for those who don't know, we're recording in early December here. We have World Championships starting up, probably some training trips around the corner. But I guess what are you up to now, Owen?
Right now, you caught me at a good time. Today was the first day of winter training we had. Woke up from a pretty long weekend. Wasn't expecting the set that we got. I wouldn't say it was my best performance, but it really got me. I woke up today and I was like, all right, so we're starting now. And I know a lot of teams call this around the country, but we're starting. People call it Hell Week, but I'm going to call it Hell Weeks, because from now until Christmas and then 2 weeks after Christmas, we're just going to be up in the yards, upping the sets, and just getting better. This is really where I see my most improvement. So I'm excited to see what I can do. I got to start really focusing in now. People are putting in some really good mid-season times. I won't be eating the hamburgers as much. I'll start focusing on my diet, start stretching more, and really getting ready for the rest of the season. So that's pretty much all December is, except for the little break that we get at the end for Christmas. I'm excited for that. But yeah.
So do you know what to expect? Because it's your first one with Ray, right? Do you know what to expect? And John, have you guys talked about like how different it may be to what you've expected in the past? You know, is Alan's distance sets going to come and haunt you? What's going on?
Yeah, I do get thrown in once a week. I get thrown in with Zalan, and it's miserable. I shouldn't be saying that, but I know it benefits me, but it's not good. It's like, well, first off, yes, it's different from ASU. I'm not sure what to expect. Obviously 2 years at ASU, I knew what I'd be walking into, and I'd be crying right now. And I have a feeling that I should be crying right now, but I don't know yet. But yes, like for example, today we have like a purple set where we go purple pace, which if no one knows, it's pretty much like 100 pace. It's all out. And usually we'll do around like 875s purple, 1650s purple. And today we did 3100s. Every third was purple pace, but it really had to, I worked my backstroke a lot, and I had to hold under like what I want to go with the back end of my 2 back. And just that accumulating really started to hurt throughout the set. And I'd say it's probably the hardest purple set I've done here yet. And then to get into Zalan, I don't even think y'all want to know. You've heard some ridiculous things on this podcast.
Yeah,
this is probably up there as well. Like so on Wednesdays when I do race pace training off the blocks, we do lactic acid. He does a challenge set, which is minimum 10K, maximum, I don't know. I've seen him do 14K, but like there's a lot of things he does. But I'd say there was one practice he showed me where it was like 500s on pace, into 5 300s on pace. I assume mile pace, into 5 200s, 5 100s, just sitting that ladder. And he was telling me he's like, yeah, on the first 500, I went 429. Then I went 423. Then I held 423 again. Then I went 419. And then on my last one, I went 417. So I'm really happy. And I'm just looking at him like, dude, I can't get under 5. I enjoy this sets. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm turning a little more into the I like working on my speed a lot more.
What are we gonna see out of Zalin at Worlds coming up here in his home country, home pool there?
I don't know. I know he's been training really hard. He didn't
Yeah.
get much of a taper for it, but he's looking good. He's feeling good. He's back to his race weight. He's happy. So I think we'll be seeing something pretty good.
Do you think which set's more painful? Kajir's set, she said, which is 20-25's dive on 30, all out, no breather, no breathing.
Oh my Lord. Okay.
Or so that lasts 10 minutes, right? And you gotta get out each one. Or Hubie's set of, let's say, David Johnson's set, 100s in a minute, holding 55s or under.
So I've actually done the second set. So I'm gonna have to just do the bias and say that one. And it was actually a punishment that I did freshman year of college, and our coach Bob at the time, everyone knows Bob, but Bob he said, do not book your Christmas flights on this day, and he said, do not, written everywhere on the thing. And I booked my flight that day to go home because I thought I was just like the cute freshman that could just get away with anything and nothing would happen. We woke up that morning. I did the morning set, and then I was going to leave for the airport. The morning set was 9K, which is a lot. It wasn't terribly hard, but it was. I mean, when you're doing a 9K, you're just going to get tired. And then after practice, he taps me on the shoulder, like with this grin that you never want to see. And he's like, so your flight's at 4, right? And I was like, yeah. And he said, you're not supposed to book a flight on this day. I said, yeah. He said, okay, you're coming in 2 hours and I'm going to have a surprise for you. And so I went back to the dorms. I ate my food. I was really scared. I was telling the freshmen, like, I'm going to die. Like, this is bad. This is really bad. I get back to the pool.
Costco pizza, ready to get
back to the pool. No, not that day. When I've never been NCAAs behind the ready room, no, not as nervous. Like nothing compares to how nervous I was walking into that practice. I walk in by myself. I see our distance coach Logan and Bob still smiling, and they just hand me a paper, 100s. It wasn't on a minute, but it was descending. It was like it was like 15 on 110, 10 on 105, 5 on 1 minute, but it was hold under 55 pace. Wow. And it was the best practice I've ever had, but
sick.
I went like 50, I was holding like 53, 54 on all of them, except for like maybe the last 6, I was just getting like 55, 56, but it was something else. It was no warm up, just straight into it kind of. But yes, that's the set. I just get nightmares thinking about it. So that's, again, for personal preference, that one's harder.
Hey everybody, quick pause to say thank you for watching and listening to Social Kick. If you like this episode, give it a like. And if you like what we're all about, consider giving us a follow or subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, at Social Kick Swim. You know what to do. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll keep telling all the stories about swimming. Cheers.
Well, let's talk about those kind of sets, those punish sets, and I'm going to ask you, my brother who swam, he was training camp, he was late for practice. And the coach said, okay, you're late. We're going to do practice. And then we're going to do a special set just for you after practice. And the set after practice, when we would get out, was a 5K long course straight under an hour. And if he didn't break an hour, he had to do it again.
Oh.
And he went an hour and like 3 seconds. And then we all begged and he got off because he really worked his ass off. But the coach walked up and down pool deck for a full hour cheering him on. Didn't just like sit down there and make him do it. He was really involved, motivated him, and he knew he worked his butt off. And that I appreciated. I appreciate the fact that the coach also said, I'm going to stay an extra hour and make this swimmer work hard, my brother. Was that the same thing for you? Like these punish sets, like they're very invested and it's a purpose. It's not just like, I told you so.
Yes, it was the same thing. I had the distance coach stayed with me the whole time. Shout out Coach Logan. I appreciate that a lot. He was definitely getting me hype. He always eats like these frozen blueberries. And he just has his hand in the bag, just munching. And I get up and he's like, nice, do it again. Nice. Do it again. Like all this stuff. And Bob was there for a lot of the set as well, which I was surprised about because I'm like, oh, he has so much to do. He had like a meeting or something that he went to for 20 minutes. And of course I was still gonna be in the pool when he got back. And at the end of the set, he started coaching me and screaming at me, and they knew I was doing really good. So it became less of a punishment and more of, oh, this kid's having a really good set. Let's actually see if he benefits off this. And
That's awesome.
I don't know, my transition from mid-season freshman year to NCAAs was, I don't know what happened. It was really, really good. So I thank them for that and all that training. So
That's awesome.
as much as people hate winter training, it's where you're going to get better. So you got to appreciate it in the end.
1,000%.
Are you guys going anywhere on a training trip or things like that? Or are you going to stay in beautiful Bloomington, Indiana?
We're going to stay in beautiful Bloomington, Indiana this year. I'm not sure. I won't go into it because I don't know what happened, but I know some stuff happened last year. So we're gonna stay here this year.
Yeah, it seems like teams aren't going on as many like winter training trips as they used to. I'm not sure if that's just because of budgets or teams are traveling more for just dual meets and things like that. I mean, you guys going down to Texas. I think you're going to Gainesville in January. Is that right? You guys
yes,
have
it's
a meet
20
in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, 25 days away. We have a little countdown to all our meets on the papers. So I think it was 25 today. I looked at it, or 21 or 25. But yes, in January.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. You chose to go from Tempe to Bloomington, right? And with that weather, from outdoors, and you lost your tan, right? From being a national champion to going to a major contender, a lot more coming in. What was your reason for the move at the end of the day? Was it just vibe, a change, scenery? You got to get your breaststroke going for your IM, so just go to the master. What's going on?
Yeah, there obviously all those factors. A lot of stuff happened at ASU that I won't dive into too much.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a little bit unexpected. A lot of us had to adapt quickly, and ASU is a great team, and they're going to do great things this year. And I love all the guys in that team. But the change really affected my group the most, which was Bob's group, and I'd say it was 50-60% pros. So obviously that for them it's a little less of an issue, but for people like me, Hubie, Leon, all the guys that were there, David Schlitt, well, a lot of them were also seniors or fifth years, so they also kind of got off. So it really affected us in a way where I had to figure out what I really wanted. And obviously the ASU coaching and the practices and Bob, they all got me to where I am today. And I'm so grateful for that because I've become way faster than I thought I ever would. But I also have family here at IU. And it's a dream for me to train with my brother. And I don't know. I was one day sitting in my room and I saw a post of like Carson Foster and his brother. And I thought that was like super cool to see that they could achieve what they wanted together. And I was like, like I know IU has my brother. We have the capabilities to be another national championship team. The breaststroke, I'm closer to home, all these things. Well, let's give it a shot. So I went on a visit. I loved it. All the guys here, everyone felt like family and just super close knit from the beginning. And it wasn't much of a change from what I had at ASU. Everyone seemed very similar. So pretty much after my visit, I pulled the trigger. Obviously Texas was a big factor. ASU was a big factor. I spoke with Bob and Herbie a lot, and I just thought IU was the place for me. So I knew it's better to just pull the trigger than dwell on it, and slowly make a decision. So I did that. And there were a few issues, with that whole process, but overall I'm happy where I am now. And I don't regret anything.
I can relate. about swimming with your brother, because my brother and I swam together in college, and he can never beat me in practice, and we never raced against each other. He was a distance, I was a sprinter. But our very last race was my last race of my career at nationals. We swam in the same heat, and it was cool, nice to see Paddington on the scoreboard, you know. And it was very special to not only train but then to race him. And then just this week in Trinidad, I was training with him as our old man masters, and he refused to train in my lane, because he knew if he trained in my lane, he would have to work hard to beat me and his rivalry. So he would go like 4 lanes over until the coach and master's coach said, Sebastian, get in the lane now, get in the lane. And he forced. But even at old men, we still have this rivalry, and he can't beat me and I can't lose to him. What's it like, you and your brother training? Yeah,
You nailed it. It's so the coaches make Cooper and I go together. And I don't know if y'all believe this, but he actually trains better than me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think he's gonna kill me for saying this, but he's still growing. So I still think he has a little bit of that little kid, like aerobic capacity in him where he can just keep going. But when we get into like you said, it's so competitive. Like I hate losing to him. I absolutely hate it. Like I love being at college with him. I came to college to help him out and to train and to go through all these things, but it doesn't mean the process is pretty. Like we're great friends. So we'll never get so mad at each other that we'll never come back. But we do bicker in practice. And there's some days where we'll go 4 lanes apart because we're just like, we can't today. Like today is not the day. But when we do the one practice a day or a week that I was talking about where I train with Zalan, my brother's in that group too. And the set that we do mainly is 15 200s on 210 or 215 or something like that, where we're just holding red pace. So it's kind of just go just consistently. And I bottom of that group. I'm always next to my brother and Zalan because the coach is like, you gotta push it. We know you can do it. I'm like, I've cramped. I promise you, I've cramped 10 of the 12 times I've done the practice, but each week I try to just get a little better. And yeah, my brother whoops me there. But as soon as we get to a little bit more the top end speed, off the block stuff, he's not even close.
Well, wait till you're 50.
Yeah. Fair. Well, he'll get there.
Yeah.
What's the most annoying thing Cooper or any other teammate can do during practice? I remember when I was swimming at Purdue, we'd have some co-ed practice every now and again, and I used to hate it when, and I'll say it, my wife and a lot of the girls on the team would be sprinting warm up and like lapping me during warm up when I'm just like trying to like stretch it out. And that would drive me nuts, and it would drive her insane too. But what's something that drives you nuts in practice?
That's there's a lot.
Long list.
Yeah, I do. And it's vice versa. Like people don't hate me, but people hate how I swim practice. And I've kind of have a reputation right now where people don't want to be in my lane because I go pretty fast from warm up to the end of practice. It's just some stuff we did at ASU. Like we always had really fast intervals during warm up. So I'm just used to going. Mm-hmm. But when people, we do social kick, and this sounds so bad. I think I'm probably gonna get quoted on this, but when people don't do more social kick than's on the set, because it says always like 200 or 300 social kick, but it's always just like it's the best part. We got to do 250 or 350. Like you can't stop early, and you can't. And then the people that sprint social kick, which I used to be one, because I didn't know at IU that social kick was such a big deal and stuff. And so people were always like, "Oh, and slow down. What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm used to like just kicking fast and going." And so now, after being here for 3 or 4 months, I'm like one of the slowest kickers now. I'll just talk and talk and talk. And then I see someone, they lapped us. I'm like, "Slow down, man. We're going to get yelled at." But
stretch us out.
Yeah, that's the biggest. That, and then just when people swim in the middle of the lane. But I also do that, so I can't be too mad about it.
you know when you have like a racehorse who needs who's like finishes racing and goes to the pasture and recovers and becomes healthy and stuff. I feel like Owen has come from the land of no social kick to the Ray land, and he's like, it's okay, you can relax. I'm gonna
Oh,
say
I literally forgot the name was Social Kick Swim.
yeah.
That goes such hand in hand. Yeah, I didn't even like look at that. I that's just what we do. But yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think Bob wrote social kick on a Texas workout for the first time in his life. I think this year.
Really?
It was,
That's awesome.
we take the credit for it because he spoke to us a week earlier. But talking about that, so we had Hubie on, I don't know, a month or two ago. It's like, Hubie, I don't think any coach has coached back-to-back national championships with two different teams ever. And Hubie says, well, it's gonna be a first time. We got it. We spoke to Ilya, and Ilya is like, it's like, ASU has a lot to prove. We're pissed off. We're going for that national title. It's going to be ours. And we asked, well, who's going to be the surprise team, Ilya? And he said, IU. IU is going to team that's going to be up there. What are you guys' predictions for it, man? You guys just came off the podium. 2 points off last year. You got in so many great talents. You got your coaching. Where are you guys finishing in NCs?
Well, I'm going to say, first, shout out to Texas, shout out to IU. It's going to be a battle, that's for sure. I'm excited to see it. But I really do think it's a coin toss because me and a few of the guys on our team are very like statistical. And so statistically speaking, as of right now with our diving, and I mean, I have to place how I did, Brian has to place how he did, which is the hardest part because everyone's getting so much faster. I'd say right now we round up. I think we win by I think it was 9 points or something, something crazy close. So it's going to be this, you guys can quote me on this. This is going to be the closest NCs in a while. But what teams need to know is that it's not the top names like Leon, Hubie, Ilya, Owen, it's really about the people that show up and touch 8th instead of 9th. And that's really a huge thing we're working on at IU right now, is just that fingertip finish, just go, go, go right at the end there. And if you accumulate a lot of those little 2-3 pointers, that's what it's going to take to win. But yeah, I mean, you've seen Texas, you've seen who they're bringing in, you've seen how they performed at midseason. And I don't know, no one knows if they're going to go faster or if they're going to go slower. It really is just a toss up. Anyone could go slower. I could go slower. There's always unpredictable variables. But I do think ASU is going to surprise everyone. I've been talking to some of the guys on the team. I've been seeing how they're training, and their relays are just awesome right now. Obviously, we're gonna come for them, but I think their rank is undeserved, and I think they'll be a lot better. Texas, we're going to be competing for that first spot. And then obviously you can never forget about Cal. They're obviously they're going to show up harder than anyone thinks. Destin, all those guys there, they got some crazy freshmen. And even, I mean, I'm not discounting Florida either, but I don't know much about Florida. So I'll just I'll see at the dual meet what they're made of, but yeah, it's going to be a battle. That's for sure. I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it there. I mean, it's easy to get lost in the top athletes, but that was one thing that stood out to me with ASU, especially when I was at Pac-12s and then at NCs too. It's just the guys just kept coming for you last year. It's who are these guys that are placing, right? You got people in the consolation final I've never even heard of, and they're just, racking up points left and right. So coming into IU now, is that something that you're, bringing your education and your experience to kind of help out that team with, you and Zalin coming from being national champions?
Yes, we obviously bring a lot of knowledge. Me, Matt, Zalon, Brian, we all bring in different aspects of training. Almost Matt and Brian have the elderly experience since they're a lot older than Zalon and I. They help give the speeches and motivate the team and stuff. And what Zalon and I do is I'm kind of like the pointer. I know who who has the potential on the team, and I know who didn't make NCs last year can just get that much closer and can be in 8th place or a 9th place or be fine. Like these people that I'm not saying won't get any faster, but aren't like NCAA champions yet.
Sure.
But we need every single one of them to score those points. We need them to qualify and all this stuff. And I'm making sure I put myself next to them and saying, hey, you need to work on these underwaters. You need to work on this finish, all this stuff. I'm a little bit more of a lead by example guy. I can really get loud and get people hyped up in the pool. I'm a little bit shy when it comes to like big crowds and big speeches. So I stay away from that. But at mid-seasons a couple weeks ago, I really started to feel closer with everyone, and I gave a few speeches, and I don't know. I'm just excited to see how this team grows because I know we got some crazy Texas times coming soon, so we'll see those.
Well, I want to talk about some crazy breaststroke. So you swam for 2 years with one of the greatest breaststrokers we've seen in a long time, Leon. You're now swimming with the breaststroke guru coach. You're swimming with Brian, who's a potential national champion this year in 100 breaststroke. We talk about most of the great 200 IMers out there would end up having a very good breaststroke with Lochte Phelps. They got their breaststroke together and spot on, and they're swimming with Leon. What's going on with your breaststroke? What has Ray taught you? What have you picked up from training of Leon? How's your breaststroke going, dude?
It's scary to talk about, man, because like I know what I got in the 2IM, and I'm on I just have that one stroke. Like if that one stroke's just a little bit faster, I'll be I don't know, hopefully I'll be up there with the greats. But yeah, it's really been holding me back. So we've been working on it hard, and I've studied, like I had to get good at the other strokes first going into ASU. Obviously I was well rounded, but I wasn't near as fast as I was. And studying people like, I mean, I was with Leon. I was that annoying kid that always I put myself next to Leon to like study his underwater, study how he held water, because I love Leon. I hope he doesn't take this the wrong way, but he's not like a Caleb Dressel or Ryan Murphy's where he's like really huge and strong. Yeah. So, and I took that to heart because I'm not that either. So I'm like, what is he doing that's different? And so I studied how he stays like quick and light on top of the water on all his strokes. He uses his underwaters aerobically to pull ahead. So I obviously implemented all these things to myself, and it improved every stroke except breaststroke. I don't know how he does his breaststroke. I can't seem to figure it out. But here at IU, Ray is, like you said, he's really like, he knows my 2IM is going to be phenomenal once I get that breaststroke down. So we've been, every morning practice we run pulleys, we run different things. And I'm not kidding you when I say I've probably, so far this season, every single meet we've had, I've had a different breaststroke. Starting at SMU to Texas to midseason, I've had a different breaststroke working on things. Some have been slower, some have been faster, but I'm working on some really good stuff right now. And it's the first time that I'm holding consistently under 30s anytime I do breaststroke short course. What I've really been focusing on is hips. For some reason, I could never seem to get my hips up high, and I didn't know why. And I realized it's the way that I pull and the way that I'm holding my head. And I could talk to you guys about freestyle, backstroke, and butterfly all day, all the technical aspects, but it's really hard for me to talk about breaststroke because, again, it's just the only thing that doesn't click with me. So what Ray is doing is really interesting, which is helping me think about it, is he's thinking, okay, since you can't think breaststroke, think butterfly. Because butterfly is a similar movement, getting your hips up, pulling. So I've been working on, instead of like the coaches tell you to sweep out on your breaststroke first, we're really focusing on shooting and pointing my fingers down and getting into the pull immediately. And that's really been helping me. And then once I started doing that, my time got faster. But because I'm pointing my fingers down immediately and I don't know how to throw my hips forward, my hips started dropping. So then what Ray did was he said, okay, now think of that, but now put a ball under your chin. And I'm sure everyone's done the tennis ball under the chin. Keep the head down, keep the chest forward, And bring your elbows back, because I was always keeping my elbows like up here, just doing like a doggy paddle almost.
Yeah.
So when I bring the elbows back, I'm like cocking to load and go forward, which then shoots my hips up. And as of right now, that's where it is. I hate to get into that technical geeky aspect, but the true essence of it will show at Big Tens and NCAAs. I will say my breaststroke is a lot better when I'm tapered. It's the only stroke that I can't do really in season. But with what I'm working on right now, I'm really hoping to have an okay breaststroke this season. Obviously, I want an ideal breaststroke, but right now, with how bad it is comparatively to the people that I race, I'm really hoping to not lose ground. And if I can keep my ground on the breaststroke, I'm confident I can win on the freestyle.
Well, looks like some PBs recently, so it seems like it's trending in the right direction. But God, the one comment you said, I had a different breaststroke at every meet this year. Is there any other stroke where you can say that, where it's like, God, it's a whole different stroke? And I think Luke and I can probably test. Neither of us are breaststrokers. Brian, who couldn't be with us, not a breaststroker. And I hear you, where it's like, God, when I was working on breaststroke, I do feel like it was a different stroke every time I did it.
It is.
And it didn't click for me either. Yeah.
It's by far the most technical stroke, no matter what anyone says. I don't care. I mean, I don't think anyone would like it's hard. And it is a natural thing. God bless you if you're natural at it. Like I'm not, like, you don't have to tell me, but yeah, it's I don't know, but we're getting there. I promise you guys we're going to get somewhere, and hopefully I can drop these good times. But yeah, with the other strokes, I'm happy with where I'm at. I think the best way to keep improving those is just training where I'm at and getting stronger. Because obviously there's always room to improve, but when you're going at a certain speed in certain times, you don't want to change anything. And I know Caleb Dressel said that before on his interviews. When you find what works for you, you stick with it. If the coaches say it's good and you're going fast, you perfect it. And again, just getting stronger, doing more repetitions of it, building your aerobic capacity, you'll be fine. It'll get faster.
A lot of IMers who are not good at breaststroke, they definitely have a narrower Shimanovic sort of kick, almost and implement that nice narrow hip going. And I remember I was talking to Finley Knox, and Finley had a breakthrough in his IM because he got his breaststroke down to, I want to say, the 33 long course. But he says the pain you felt after that coming home was just the most blinding, horrible pain. Do you, because when you work on that one leg, it's going to affect how your backstroke is feeling as you're setting into that turn and how your freestyle comes out of it. So how are you adjusting the other strokes as well? Because you put more into your breaststroke, what's going to have for your freestyle, and your walls coming off. You thought about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the main reason. Where what I'm going to tell you next is what I've been doing.
Right.
So Ray has a great IM group and a program. And I was never going to come into IU and change anything about it. However, I know like what works for me, and I know what helps me so much. So I had a meeting with Ray a couple months ago, and I was like, hey, I think this is working. This whole set is working for me, but I don't think it's going to help improve some of the other swimmers. And here's what I think will help. And so now we have I would say and this is to anyone like looking at IU, I would say our best practice right now is the IM one that we got going, because every time I come in Friday night, which is our active rest IM set, I'm excited and I'm ready to race. And I know the other guys are ready to get better. We do just what you said. We work on all the strokes. We do 75s of strokes, turn work, underwater off the block, just things that I think are so technically sound for like an IM, which is you need to know your takeout speed. You need to know your kicks because everything's changing. You need to know how to get that easy speed on the fly to carry it into backstroke and conserve your energy for a stroke that you're weak at. So what we'll do is individually go through And I'll go up to people and I'll be like, what's your weak stroke? Where do you think you're losing ground on your 2IM? What are your times? What are your splits? And then I go to Ray and I tell him, like, this is what we need to do today or something like this. Because as a whole, it'll benefit us. But it's like each week there's one guy in this smaller, like, individualized group that's going to benefit the most. And obviously in bigger groups, you can't do that. So we have a little bit smaller of a group for this one. But for instance, like my day for the breaststroke would be something like we do 850s and I work the breaststroke, like the easy speed, just quick, get up, go. And then on the 25 back, no breath, no matter what, as fast as you can go. So you can really feel that lactic acid building up and that stroke going into improving your breaststroke, which is going to take more to get faster, and holding those underwaters into no breath so that I am able to finish. And then we will do things like, I'll just give you a set we did like 2 weeks ago that I think is awesome. And it would be, I don't know the exact set, but we would start with just 12 25s fly or something. In all your work, you're not like, we specify you're not working them. You're feeling like you're skipping on top of the water, just quick. You're holding your kick count that you want off the second 25 of the 50. Because obviously we're going to work the start, which is, right. I think you have, like, in today's swim world, you have to get to 15, no matter who you are. You got to go to 15. And then you adapt your stroke count from there. But the 25s is really feeling that second 25, just light, quick. You're not going deep, pulling as much water. You're just really getting to the wall and being able to hit that backstroke really good. So we do that for 25s. And then we go right into like 850s of like the breaststroke thing that I did. But for backstrokers, we would do 25 back, work the transition back to breast. And you get up and you take your underwater kicks on the backstroke and you transition into breaststroke, and then vice versa, breaststroke into free, no breath. And then there's a lot of little things that you can throw up working on our turns and our blue speed. And then we go into 75s, like 50 fly, 25 back, or 50 back, 25 breast, or 50 breast, 25 free, a lot of that stuff. But always at the end, the one thing that I would put in the set, no matter what, that I told Ray is the most important is we have to do 450s on 35, no rest, blue pace, freestyle, end of 2IM, because no matter what stroke you're good at, you're going to have to crutch something. And even if your worst stroke's free, you're going to be tired at the end of a 2IM because of all the stuff that you worked on. So I would say free. You can look at Dustin Lasco. You can look at Hoob. You can look at all these people who have amazing ending 2IMs. And they really work the underwaters, but it's just a grind. It really, at the end of the race, no matter if you're Dustin Lasco, you're hurting really bad. So it's just you go to those 50s on 35 and you just go all out and you do not hold anything back. And if it's the last round of the set, like, I'm expecting myself and my teammates to just, I want you to be dead at the end of it. And that's where I really that's the one point in the week where I'm getting up and I'm saying, this is where you become who you are. This is how you're going to get there. Like, this is how you end your IM, and this is the IM group. And it's just put your head down and you freaking kick and white water everything. Just, you kill yourself, really.
I mean, your first year at IU, it sounds like a lot of confidence to be able to go in and chat with Ray about these things. Have you always had this type of open communication with your coaches, or has that come just like over time?
I do think it comes over time. Sorry, I kind of just got into it. I didn't sound how confident I was, but obviously I'm nervous to talk to the coaches, but I know when it comes to a sport that you're good at and you have a team, I would feel guilty if I didn't say anything. I have to go and I have to force myself to be like, hey, this is what I think is going to get us better. This is like just little things like writing the number of days till NCAAs on the set was another thing I mentioned to Ray. And I think that's important for not just our school, but any schools. It just gives you something to look forward to. I'm really into whatever little thing can make you better will eventually accumulate over time to reach pretty much any goal that you have. So the confidence did come with time. When I was a freshman, I was terrified of Bob didn't speak up, didn't say anything. Sophomore year, started having conversations with Bob, joking around, but I knew he knows what he's doing. But I was starting to know what was working for me. And so I would tell Bob how I'm feeling and stuff. And then with the whole situation with him leaving and stuff, I think I matured a lot, because there's a lot of things that I had to deal with and figure out myself. And I figured out that thinking for yourself sometimes is the best. I shouldn't hold back what I have to think. So I brought that into IU, and I knew Ray is very close to the swimmers. It's very tight knit, like family group. So I was confident to come in day one, tell him how I'm feeling, even if it's not even related to swimming, just, hey, like I'm not doing good in this class, and it's stressing me out, and I feel like it's affecting me in the pool. Like, can I get a tutor, or can I do this stuff? And obviously all schools have access to that, but it's more of, I feel comfortable enough to do it, which is a great thing. And obviously my confidence has been built. I think I have enough accolades in the short course pool under my belt to know what really works for me. And that's another thing. I'm working on long course. We'll get there eventually. I got better. I got a lot better, but short course, I think I'm at the point now where I can lead a team and better myself. And I've really emphasized that with Ray. And I know Ray has the coaching staff and his coaching abilities to get it done. So I feel comfortable and I feel confident going in and saying what I have on my mind.
Dude, Owen, you definitely are confident, but you think about this year you had, right? You trained in a program that proved itself to be a championship program. How many gold medals the program got? 6 gold medals in it, at least.
Yeah.
So, and those are your teammates who did your program, got gold medals. You go to trials, you have, your final PB 2 IM, you just made the second swim, but you had a solid summer. But I'm sure that kept you hungry. And that's like, dang, I want to be there, right? And now you
yes. Oh, yes.
So talk to us
you
about
guys have
2025.
no idea.
How hungry are you? What's your goals beyond NCs? What's your goals for 2025? Just at high level, dude. You're hungry, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping y'all will see me this year or 2025. I know I have the capabilities to do it. What's been holding me back is I've always been scared of long course. I always grew up training short course. I actually 7 years of my swimming career, I've only trained short course meters, and I've never had a short course meters in my life. So I'd love to perform short course meters at some point, because I really think I could be great there. But short course yard, short course meters. Really started getting into long course at ASU. Obviously not during the season, but over the summer I went to training camps and things, and I immediately saw improvement, but I still was a little weary, because when I think short course, it's not the same stroke as long course. It's not what I've perfected over the years. I underwater more long course, which honestly hurts me in some things because it's such a longer swim. So there's a lot of things that I had to adjust. And I was just starting to figure it out this summer, or not this summer, but right after NCs, when Bob left, that kind of threw a little wrench into my plan for trials. And I really wanted to make the team this year. And I thought I could. Obviously it's like it's a thought that you can. And then when you get there, it's like, oh, this is going to be a lot harder than I thought. But I did have a 2-week period, or a week and a half period, where like 3 weeks before trials, where I did not swim. I didn't have anywhere to go or train, because I was in like the process of like in between ASU and IU, because there were some unforeseen things at ASU, which I can't really get into, but I didn't have anywhere to go. So I was like, I was super upset, because I was really doing good. And then I panicked. I went to IU immediately, and they really, I told Ray, I was like, I am out of shape. And I'm 3 weeks out and I'm panicking and I don't know what to do. I need you to do anything. And it probably wasn't the greatest introduction to IU, because he whooped me, man. But I mean, the first couple races, I was really in there like this is not going good. And I didn't know how to turn it around. And I wasn't used to like feeling so bad, like going into trials. And I just stuck with what the coaches said, which is like, okay, this is a week-long meet. We started your taper later because we know the 2IM's your best shot. It's what we've been working the most on with the limited amount of time that we had. So I did the best as I could in the other races, and they weren't terrible for how I was feeling, but the taper was progressively getting longer and longer. And I just was hungry. I was just like, you know what, with everything that's happened this year, let me just throw everything into this last swim. And so in the prelims, I made it back. I was like, okay, that's good. I like that time. Semifinals did the same thing. I was like, okay, like I made it to finals. Like this is really good. Like, let's see what I can do. And I was watching Shane and Carson and Chase, and they looked really, really good in the semifinals. So I got really nervous, but I just went with the coaches. And honestly, I don't know. This is funny. Our massage therapist, his name is Brian. He really helped me. Like, he was like, hey, I know you just came in here, all this stuff, but you just get 1% better every day. And I know you've been training that and you've been doing that, and you just come see me after your race. We're going to get you, he said this during prelims. And I'll get you straight. He gave me a massage. I went to the ice bath. I really focused on what I had to do. And I knew what I had to do was go out under world record pace. I couldn't hold anything back because it's coming from me. It sounds weird when people say it's all mental and your body can do more than your brain. Every swimmer is like, that's part of my French bullshit. Like you can't do that because swimmers know how they feel. This is the first time where I was just like, okay, I got to somehow get past this because like if I have any shot at all, I'm just going to have to take it out. And so at finals, that's what I did. I mean, Shane took it out 1.5 seconds under world record pace. Yeah. I took it out 1 second under world record pace, knowing that my breaststroke would be quite unfortunate, which I'm not saying it was, and with that crowd, like, and those people that have the 10 years of experience over me, they really got me on the breaststroke. But as soon as I hit that breaststroke to freestyle, I said, okay, let's just put on a show at least. And I just kicked my legs, swung my arms, and I split, I think 27.4, which was like the craziest last 50 I've ever had. And I mean, I took it out under, well, this is my biggest flex. I was watching the Olympics with Leon swimming and stuff. And I was telling my parents, I'm like, oh, like Leon's he's gonna pull away with this one. And we're watching his splits. I'm like, oh, I outsplit him on the butterfly. Oh, I outsplit him on the backstroke. Oh, he beat me by 5.2 seconds in a 50 breaststroke.
Wow.
And then I outsplit him on the free. And I was like, Mom, I'm basically Leon Marchand, except for 150. But yeah, after that race, I got out, I saw my old club, and I was like, you know what? No matter what happened this year, I never thought I'd be at a stage like this before. I never thought I'd get second at NCAAs. I never thought any of this would happen. So as much as it angered me what happened over the summer, I got over it and I did the best I could. And I'm really happy at where I am now, but I'm hungry and I'm definitely coming this year.
Well, it's why we wanted to talk to you for a while, man. We're like, Owen McDonald, we got to talk to this kid. This guy's coming. He's the next one. And yeah, I'm excited. And I think you're going to surprise us in things we don't expect. Like, we're looking for you in the 2IM. We're looking for you in the 2 back. But, I mean, you've popped a 48 long course 100 free. Your 50 is not bad. I think you might pop something that will surprise us all. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to hit this summer really hard. And I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be training freestyle pretty hard too, because that's obviously that's the most competitive, but that's always the safest bet. Yeah. To get that top 6, so I'll be training. I always train the freestyle hard long course, but the backstroke too, the 100 back, I didn't get to do that at all this summer. And I know I'm 53, 52 range in that, as of right now. And I can stand by that. that's my favorite race, long course too. But yeah, I'm ready. We'll see. The IMs, I always train IM whenever you have options to do things. I do the IMs because it works everything, and I think that helps me all around with my free and my backstroke. And obviously everyone knows freestyle is the most common stroke in practices and stuff, so I focus on that a lot. But again, I don't know. We'll see the long course season. I'm gonna focus in on it like I never have before next year.
How good is your freestyle? Because I remember when we talked to Carson, we didn't realize how good Carson's 500 free was, for instance. You know, we saw it at some invites. It's how solid is your freestyle feeling these days? What's your 2 free long course looking like?
Freestyle is my best training stroke for sure.
Okay.
Honestly, the times that y'all have seen in my freestyle are nothing compared to what I train. I'm not sure if it's because I can just keep going and keep doing it long course, but I think freestyle will be one of my top races, like you said, this summer. I think I can, from a relay swing, 100 free, I just learned how to swim it at nationals, not even at trials. Like I just learned how to swim it at nationals that month that we had between trials and nationals. I worked with our sprint coach, and the 48 that I did there was the easiest swim of my life. Like wow. I don't know what it was. I'm not sure if it was just because it was just like one of those like breakout races, but I think I can be 47 from a swing for sure. But hopefully I can go, I'd say 48 low in the 100 free, and then 2 free. I do a lot of them, but I don't really know. I still don't know how to swim the 2 free. Like I was working on it at ASU with Drew Kibler a lot. And he was helping me out a lot. And it was starting to get better, but I would definitely say I'm not quite there at the end of a 2 free long course. So I'll work on that. And my goal in that's obviously, I think I want to be 146 low or 145 high in that next summer.
Well, Owen, man, that's what it takes. But you got Matt King with you now as well, who came off. And give us an example of one of those sets you guys might be doing now. Are you guys doing like 150s? You know, give me an example of a solid set. Like, yeah, I'm working and you can't touch this. It's a solid set.
I would say a solid set. So again, going back to short course, when I train with Matt, I just train with Matt on Wednesdays, which is our lactate sets. Okay. And I would say the fastest thing him and I have thrown down is we both did a 75 off the block, and we both went 30 low. And I've yet to swim 100 free, not tired yet. So I'm excited to see that too. I don't know when else, because I've only swam the 100 free at the end of like dual meets so far this season, and I think I went a 42-1 at Texas or something like that, and then I went 42-1 lead off at midseason, and that was after 2 back or relay and 2 back, I think, and I was a little bit tired, but I don't know. I feel like I could be 41 low in 100 free. So yeah, 100 frees, like, or the freestyles in general are just, it's my best stroke that I don't do.
All right, Owen, we're going to finish up with some rapid fire, okay?
All right, go ahead.
What's the hardest race in swimming?
4 a.m. long course.
Olympic gold or world record?
World record.
Do you pee in the pool?
Yes.
What are you reading, watching, or listening to right now?
Reading, unfortunately, no. Watching, right now I'm watching Prison Break on Netflix, which is good. And then listening, I always listen to Playboy Cardi. He's my man.
If you could race one teammate in an off event, what teammate would it be and what event?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Honestly, I would say Zalan and the two breast. Either Zalan and the two breast, or honestly Rafael Miroslav and the 100 butterfly. One of those two. I think Zalan and I would have a close race in the two breast, and I think Rafa and I would have a close race in the 100 fly. And it's both things that we don't do. So
Yeah.
There we go. Let's make it happen.
yeah. No.
You're like, oh, what am I saying?
Yeah.
All right. Who's the fastest fly back freestyle IMer? Take out breaststroke. No one likes it anyway, right?
Fly back free. Yeah, God. I mean, me. Me for sure. But then behind me, I would probably have to say Patrick Salmon, which is a surprising answer from ASU. He would shock you guys on how well he can sprint the fly in the back. Or of course Ilya. Oh God, now there's so many that I'm thinking of. Man, there's so many. Ilya, Rafael here, he's really good at those strokes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
All right. Speaking of fast swimmers, who wins in a 50 free, Bob or Ray?
Right now.
Right now. Oh my God, that's so hard to think. I would have to say if Ray shaved his head, Ray would win. But as of right now, Bob has the advantage.
We had Brendan Burns. Brendan Burns said that Ray would win between Brendan. Didn't we have them like 2 years ago? Yeah.
That was a while ago. That was maybe longer. I think Bob's in the water more now though than he was.
Yeah, no, I've seen him swimming. So yeah, I don't know. That's also a hard question. I don't really want to. I can't quite answer that for both coaches' sake. Yeah.
All right. If you could only have 3 apps on your phone and had to delete all the other apps, what would be the 3 apps you keep?
Photos, obviously. Meet Mobile and Instagram.
There we go. All right. Last one, then we'll have you out of here. You talked about it a little, but how often are you doing social kick at IU?
More than we're supposed to. Probably, I'd say average 300 every practice.
Wow. There you go. We support that. That's for sure. All right, Owen. Well, that's all we have for you. You survived all the rapid fire. We thank you for coming on the show and wish you the best of luck at that meet in Florida and then NCAAs and beyond, man.
Yep. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Definitely. And that's it for this episode of Social Kick. Thank you.
Hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode of Social Kick and you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. And we love talking swimming and we'd love to talk about swimming with you. So leave us a comment and we'll see you next time.